Hello, welcome to our social online class. Today we are going to discuss about the remaining parts in the temperature, right? Present we are in the second lesson, you know everyone, energy from the sun. Energy from the sun. In this lesson, present our topic is temperature. Present our topic is temperature, right? In this topic, in the last classes, we discussed about the temperature differences between different places, different regions. The differences of temperature in different places. Like the places which is near the sea and far from the sea. And the relation between the temperature and the height. Temperature and the height. These two areas. Now, in this class, we are going to discuss about the another two topics are the inversion of temperature. Inversion of temperature. Inversion temperature. What is inversion temperature? Listen carefully. Generally, the temperature will be decreases in the higher atmosphere layers, in the higher areas. Why? Because of every 1000 meters, generally the temperature decreases for 6 degrees of temperature, 6 degrees centigrade. Yes, that is we discussed in the last class. But inversion means this is opposite. This is opposite. What is opposite? General principle. With the general principle. This is the opposite of general principle. What is the general principle here? Generally the temperature decreases from the at the higher regions. Higher regions for 1000 meters. For 1000 meters 6 degrees of temperature will be decreases. Right? But in the inversion and some situations, especially in the winter season, the lower layers, according to this principle, the lower layers of the atmosphere is very hotter than the higher regions. The lower layers of the atmosphere is very hotter than the higher regions. But in the inverse temperature means the lower layers are hotter than the upper layers. That means the temperature is not decreases for every 1000 meters. But these situations are occurs in only the winter season. What is the reason for this? In the winter season, generally that insolation is very low on the earth. Yes or no? Insolation is very low. Why? Because daytime is very short. That the insolation is very low. That means the earth receiving very low amount of energy. This is the situation. So in the morning, every morning in the winter season, we seen the condensation is more high in the lower layers. The condensation means which is the water is evaporates by the earth energy or the earth sunlight, that is the heat. So these evaporation can move upper layers, then it is cooled and formed as a droplets. That is called as the condensation. But here the condensation in the summer season occurs in the higher layers of the atmosphere. But in the summer season is not like that. This condensation occurs in the lower layers. Because that's why we are all having some experience in the winter season. We seen some of the droplets are fall on the leaves or on the grass. We have the live experience in the winter season. So in this situation, this condensation is caused to cooling down. That means decreases the temperatures in the lower layers. In the higher regions, decreases the temperatures in the lower regions. That's why the lower regions is getting very low temperature than the higher regions. This is called as the inverse temperature. This type of this situation occurs only in the winter season because of the condensation occurs in the lower layers of the atmosphere. This is called as the inversion of temperature. Inversion of temperature. But this situation occurs only in the winter season only. Winter season only we can see. Right? This is called as the inversion. And next topic in our lesson is the places which is near the equator. The difference of temperature, the places which is near the equator and far from the equator. Just you have to see here, where the places are near to the equator getting very high temperature, the places which is far from the equator getting low temperature. Just you recall angle of incidence in the last classes. What is angle of incidence? That means the sun rays, this is the earth, the sun directly released their energy like this, but these sun rays are not fall in the equivalent manner on the earth surface. These sun rays are not fall on the equivalent ratio because of the curvature of the earth. Because of the curvature of the earth, in some areas the sun rays are directly fall on the earth, in some regions the sun rays are slightly fall on the earth. Yes, just we recall angle of incidence. So this particular class, which is the regions nearer to the equator getting very high temperature, far from the equator getting low temperature. That means because of low insolation occurs here. Just 3 examples are given in the textbook. That is, first one is the Singapore and the Shanghai, which is the city in the China, and another one is Vladivostok. These 3 regions are given in the textbook. These 3 regions are given in the textbook. What is that? What is the temperature is there in the Vladivostok? Nearly 3.9 degrees centigrade. 3.9 degrees centigrade. In Shanghai, 15.3 degrees temperature. And in the Singapore, 27.6 degrees of temperature given here. That means what you observe here, the Shanghai is comparatively the Singapore is very far from the equator, and the Vladivostok is in the polar region. That's why comparatively the Singapore, the Shanghai and the Vladivostok getting low insolation, it is causes to low temperature. That means what we understand, the places which is near the equator getting very high temperature, the places which is far from the equator, then the places getting very low temperature. That is we understand by this example. Okay, this is the relation between the equator and the temperature. Okay, this is the information. And next one, final area in this lesson. Temperature maps. What is? Generally we know that map is the representation of the earth surface, but the maps are given the information about any particular thing. Here the temperature maps, just we learned, you recall the maps are different types. That is the political, physical, and different type of thematical maps are also. That means thematical maps we learn. These maps are given the specific information like about the vegetations, about the grasslands, about the rainfall, about the different like the agricultural areas, about the industrial areas like this. So here this is the map, is the thematical map. This map gives the information about the temperature of different regions. That means these maps are shown the average temperatures of different regions. That is the help of these temperature maps. Take example. This is the map. In this map, some lines are drawn on the map. Like this. Right? What are the lines is there? These lines are joined the equivalent temperature areas. Take example, here the temperature is 15 degrees, here 20 degrees, here 30 degrees. Just where the temperature is 15 degrees, those areas are totally joined by a line. Those areas are totally joined by a line. Then we can understand these are all the areas getting 15 degrees of temperature. And another line, take example, this is the other line is 20 degrees line. 20 degrees. These areas are totally receiving the 20 degrees temperature. These areas are totally receiving the 30 degrees temperature. These are the lines are shown what is the average temperature on the particular region. These lines are called as the isotherms. These lines are called as the isotherms. This is the called as the climatic map. The temperature map. The temperature map gives the temperature in different regions. The temperature in different regions. That information we are getting by the temperature maps. These lines are called as the isotherms. Okay, this is the overall information in this lesson. Our energy from the sun. Okay, right. You have any doubts, please ask me through the WhatsApp for this lesson only. Okay, thank you all of you.